Hey, what's up, lightboltjoe here. Today we are going to discuss the 2022 Netflix original show, The Recruit. This is 8 episodes long, stars Noah Centineo, a bunch of other people are in this. So, this is a CIA spy kind of show, but it's not at the same time, because Noah plays this character, Owen Hendricks, who's a lawyer who's hired by the CIA. He's not recruited by the CIA because he's not an agent. He's a lawyer who got a job at the CIA and then somehow inadvertently was thrown into the mix of all this espionage stuff of backstabbing this person, getting intel on that person, freeing that person, inadvertently killing somebody. It's interesting because the title has nothing to do with what's going on. It's very odd. And it's unfortunate because Noah brings a lot of swagger to this character, and the three friends, him and his two roommates, I think are a great dynamic together. But it's odd. It's an odd show, and why I keep saying the word odd is, and I've only said this a couple other times in previous reviews. There are certain projects, there are certain movies that could have easily been an 8-episode miniseries, and it would have been perfect. There are certain shows that should have never been an 8-episode show. It should have just been a 2-hour movie and would have been perfect. This is a good example of something which is very rare, but this is a good example in regards to the pacing of story, which was so slow. If this was a 2-hour, 2.5 hour long film, I think it would have been so much better than it was, because there are certain scenes that are irrelevant to the main plot points. There are certain scenes which were just dragging on and on and on. Like, there's this whole build up to like a subpoena thing, which never happened because it was delayed, and then it was delayed again. But like, what does that have to do with the main focal point of the story? It's this subplot which has nothing to do with the main story. So I think that's the best way to explain this, is that if this wasn't an 8-episode season 1 of a show, because it wasn't technically canceled yet. I'm currently recording this on January 21st as I look at my watch. 2023. It came out December 12th, 2022, something like that. So we're a month in. Netflix can cancel it next month, but they could also renew it next month. Who knows? That the best way for me to explain it is what I just said. If this was a 2.5 hour movie, I think it would have been much better than it actually was, compared to an 8-episode season 1, which was like 50 to hour long episodes, and it dragged, and it was boring at a lot of the points where it should have been exciting. And as I'm watching this, it became very prevalent that I don't like spy films all that much. A lot of it is because it's predictable who's messing with whom when, and yes, there's always the twist at the end that you don't really expect, but they're boring to me. To me, they're boring. The only spy film that I truly found exponentially exceptional, and one of my all-time favorite movies, is 2015 Spy with Melissa McCarthy. That is one of the best films in regards to films that I've ever seen. Comedy film, action film, the pacing of the story, the cinematography, the score, the soundtrack, the acting, the twists and turns. It was hysterical, but it was prevalent. The stuff that was improvised made sense to the dialogue and made sense to the film. So to have the twists and turns and the excitement of going to this country and going to that country and being this identity and being that identity, to get intel on this and to do this bombs deal and all these things, it was so interesting and exciting. I would have loved for that to be an 8-episode miniseries, but it didn't have to be as well, because the pacing was just so boom, 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 boom. It was great. And it's interesting. I love that word. It's my favorite word, interesting, because you could say it 2 words. You could say interesting, or you could say it interesting. So it could be a 4-syllable or it could be a 3-syllable, depending on how the dynamic of the conversation has to go. So anyway, Spy is one of my all-time favorite films, and it's one of my all-time favorite spy examples. So I feel like I compare everything now to Spy when it comes to espionage or spy kind of film, which I shouldn't, but I do. And I don't know, I mean, parts of this was trying to be Fast and Furious, and it wasn't. Certain things were okay. Noah did a great job with the material he was given, but If this was a 2.5 hour movie, I'm pretty sure we would be having a very different conversation. I guarantee you I would be saying this was awesome and it was great. But we have the flip side of it, and I'm saying this was boring and it's unfortunate. So, unfortunate in the wrap up of this season 1 of The Recruit, which again, I have no idea why it's called The Recruit, because he's a lawyer who is hired to work for the CIA. He's not recruited. He didn't go to a training to be a part of the CIA. I don't know, man. It was we did it. We watched it because Noah's in it, and that's what we do. We watch projects because certain talent is in it. So, what shall we watch next? I have no idea. On to the next review. Wish mahalo.